All right, good morning. We're officially live broadcasting today on YouTube. And boy, we are a little bit late. This is not a normal time for us to broadcast, but hey, better late than never. Better late than never. I hope everybody's doing excellently today. Maybe you've gotten up early and gone shopping, maybe not. The reports tell us the vast majority of people decided today they're going to shop online, and the savvy ones actually were shopping even before today because many of the places actually have started offering discounts well before the Black Friday event. Some have started as early as Monday of this week. Some have started in mid November. And many of the individuals, many of the companies will be offering discounts all the way through next week. So, no need to rush, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. You decide how you feel about the whole thing. So, today is Black Friday, so happy Black Friday to you. I Before we get started, I do want to point out that towards the end of the show, there might be some information that could potentially be offensive to some individuals. I personally think that it's very funny. However, I do want to point it out that maybe, just maybe, some of you might be offended. Might be some innuendos that you don't feel comfortable with. So before we get there, maybe I'll wave or raise my hand or say something so that you can close your ears, close your eyes. You don't have to actually see it. I do want to welcome everybody who is watching this live. Welcome, good morning. We're going to be taking a look at crypto markets. We're going to be analyzing some charts to kind of see what the hey is going on, right? We hit that 19,500, then we went down to 16,200. I mean, we lost about $3,000 in Bitcoin alone, not to mention all the other coins that have lost it. So we're going to take a look at what's going on and kind of where can we expect things are going to shift. We're also going to take a look at some of the longer term stuff that I was doing. That's the reason why I'm actually late. I was geeking out with charts, and that's always problematic because when I start playing around with charts, forget it, man. I mean, morning turns into night and the next day. So anyways, I do want to welcome you. If you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe, and the bell notification with the all. And let's do this. All right, y'all. Good morning. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully, you've done some shopping already. And if not, hey, I do have great news. Bitcoin actually just gave us the most amazing deal of a Black Friday ever by dumping as much as it did. And right now, actually, we see that it's a little bit over 17,000. Let's refresh nonetheless. You know, you never know. You never know with Bitcoin. One moment could be one price, next moment could be something different. So you got to keep refreshing that puppy. As you can see, we're standing right now at $17,018.53. We're down 1.8% in a 24-hour period, 4.3% down in 7 days. But the best deal was actually earlier this morning or even yesterday when it dumped to 16,200. So of course, if you have purchased at 19,500, maybe you're feeling a little bit bad. And if you have used leverage, maybe you're feeling a lot bad. But if you have been daily cost averaging and pay attention to the risks and, continue to educate yourself about the charts, about the graphs, technical, fundamental, understanding all of those different things, you probably have expected that when we hit the 19,500 twice, that we would actually dump, right? So we'll take a look at the charts in a few moments, I promise, but let's just kind of go ahead and take a look at what's happening in the rest of the market. Ethereum is standing right now at $513.98, down 2.2% over 24 hours, still up 9% over the 7 days. It did actually hit in the 400s a few hours back, so something for you to kind of be aware of. XRP did actually come down, a bit, not as much in 24 hours. I mean, XRP, 24 hours ago, something like that, plus minus, was almost a dollar, y'all. Almost a dollar. It went from 25 cents to almost a dollar. Now it's sitting at 53.8865 cents. So you do the math of how much loss was there. But it's still up. It's still up. So those that purchased it at 25 cents, they're still doing really well. Now, I have actually heard some rumors. I don't know. You let me know how you feel about it, how you think about it. Are these true? Are they rumors that perhaps that whenever XRP pumps in a big way, obviously it will dump soon enough, but Bitcoin dumps as well. So there was somebody that was alleging that that might be happening, and I don't know if that's true, but I'm curious. So think about it, take a look into it. I haven't had a chance to play around with the graphs and kind of research it, but there's some people that are saying, this is absolutely true. It's absolutely happening. So I'm kind of excited to, to hear other people's thoughts and opinions, and also take a look. Bitcoin Cash is also down 4.8% in 24-hour period. It's still up over the course of 7 days. And, we were at above $300 when we did this, on Wednesday. Thursday, we did the real estate show. So here we are right now. Link is also sitting now well below its $15 most recent high, and is now at $12.41. Litecoin lost big. It was 80 some dollars not that long ago. Now it's sitting at $69 and a penny, and they lost 15.7% over the course of 7 days. So overall, as we kind of scroll over the top 100, as you can see, there's it's a mixed Christmas tree, so to speak, right? The green and the red. But predominantly we're seeing a bit more losses than we see gains. Now, if we take a look at the top gainers in 24 hours, well, we're seeing that perhaps the DeFi is starting to kind of get its footing back and starting to kind of pick things up a little bit more, make it sexy for us on a Black Friday. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but SushiSwap is the one, or Sushi is the one that is actually sort of winning the race in the 24 hours at 13.8% up. It is still down 8.4 over the course of 7 days, mostly because we just saw this ginormous kind of like kaboom. And it wasn't ginormous. We're talking, we'll take a look, but I think we're talking like on average, 30-ish%. What's 30% in 24 hours in crypto? If you're being completely honest, I know it sucks, but that's what happens when the market is super young and super unregulated and super, compressed and small. You have these like super ginormous moves. One of the things that I did share, when Wednesday, when we talked about it, I did say, I'm like, hey, y'all, I just saw the news that XRP folks, the whales, have moved in a gazillion dollars onto the exchange. This puppy's going to dump. And it did dump, but it took down everything else with it. So, again, there were some things that I thought I was going to call right, but I didn't. And it has to do with YFI short term. It was trading in the triangle, and we'll see it in a moment, but it was trading in a triangle, and I was like, hey, it's hitting the bottom. If this puppy hits the bottom and breaks over it, this is going straight down. And it actually did, but I was hoping that it's going to bounce off of it, hit it up, and then break on the upside, but it broke on the downside. So there goes that for the hopes and dreams, right? The market is going to do what market is going to do. You just got to be prepared for it and protect yourself. XLM is doing really, really well. So this is Stellar, right? And we covered Stellar also on Wednesday, where I said this puppy could pump. So be prepared for that. And pump it did. 124.5% in the course of 7 days. This puppy went up 10% exactly in 24 hours, and it's still pumping really nicely in the third spot of the giant pumpers, which nothing is really giant. The biggest one is Sushi at 15%, is YFI at 9.2% over the 24 hours. It did lose almost 15% in 7 days, and currently is trading at $23,685.33. Thank you very much. On the biggest gainer side, XLM. XLM definitely takes the crown right now, but do be careful, because every time something pumps big, it has a potential to dump big. Just make sure that it doesn't dump on you. I've been listening every morning. I try to like listen some books on tape and that kind of stuff while I'm making myself coffee. And this might be TMI, but that's okay. I get it. But I'll listen to the books when I can. And there was a book that I was listening on trading, right? And I can't remember exactly what it's called. Sorry about that. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I will look it up. I'll make sure to put it in the description in the channel in case you want to listen to it as well. And I think it might be calling like Trading for Living or something like that. El Arian. But he was talking about the whole thing of like, when you're unsure what to do in the market, think about it from the outside of the market real world scenario. If a man tumbles down a one step, or two steps, he can easily get up, brush off, and continue walking. But if he falls like 3 feet, or 3 stories down, it might be a bit longer for him to pick back up and walk. And he was talking about the whole paying attention when things go up ballistic and starts to crash. It's much easier to recover financially as well as the market to recover when the fall is relatively small. But when the fall is big, it's much more difficult for the market as well for you to recover. So I thought that was a really cool analogy, and I figured, hey, why not? Share with the peeps, because sharing is caring. Speaking of sharing and the caring, before we get into the charts and some geeking stuff, I do want to share with you a couple of bits of news. The first one has nothing to do with crypto whatsoever, but it does actually talk about really big stuff, what's happening outside of the world of crypto that I think is going to continue to drive everybody to go onto the blockchain and crypto. And here it is, tit for tat. Beijing slaps up to 212% tariffs on Australian wine in response to price dumping. So, Australia basically decided, hey, we have some challenges. China said, up yours, man. Here it is. We're just going to start charging you on wine. And guess who pays? It's people. It's you and I. That's who actually pays the higher price. So, where I think that things are going to start coming in is that more of us are going to be trading outside of the big banks, outside of the big governments, outside of the big things, right? Where it's going to be like, hey, I'm just going to buy something for you. You send me Bitcoin or Ethereum or Stellar or whatever we agree that we're going to, exchange our funds in, our value in. And, and I'm going to ship you this stuff and call it a day, man. Nobody needs to know. Well, technically speaking, I mean, I'm not saying do illegal stuff. You still got to declare it. But what I'm saying is, there's going to be easier ways that are going to be happening on the, in the way that things are going to be traded. So, or at least so I hope. But we'll see how this is going to turn out. People are getting crazy, y'all. Libra. Hey, Libra. Facebook Libra is about to launch in January 2021. So there we go. In about a month plus minus, Libra is going to become a real deal. It's very different Libra that is going to be released versus the Libra that was originally announced, mostly because of regulations and the governments around the world flipping out on Libra and what he was trying to do. Additionally, we've seen some different businesses that decided to say, I don't think I want to participate in this program. And one of those, was PayPal. As you know, they just listed their own crypto service. MasterCard is another one that walked away. And MasterCard, if you don't know, has listed a way for the central banks to actually test their CBDCs. I don't know if you knew that or not. Vodafone, which if you are not from Europe or been in Europe long enough to pay attention, is basically a telecom giant from Europe. I don't know if they're from Europe, but I know they're very dominant there. So I don't know that they're from there, but they're definitely there quite a bit. So they are also walking away from Libra. And then, of course, eBay. eBay walked away from it. But in exciting news about eBay, eBay signed up with Lolly. If you don't know about Lolly, Lolly allows you to basically get a Chrome extension. It doesn't work for Brave yet, but maybe they'll make it work for Brave. Because I'm thinking, if you're part of crypto, why are you not part of Brave? Call me crazy, okay? But anyways, It's an extension for Chrome where you can download it, log in, and so they have these partners that when you shop, you get a portion of the money back in Bitcoin. So that's kind of exciting, and eBay is one of the latest projects that signed up with Lolly. Signing up with Lolly is absolutely free, but I don't know how it works for vendors. In full disclosure, I did reach out to them and asked about it. They're very slow to respond. It's probably been about 2 weeks. So from the vendor experience, I'm not super crazy about that. But on the buying side of things, it's very, very easy. So maybe, just maybe, they're having, maybe it's they were getting ready for holidays. I don't know. Or maybe I just applied at the same time they were trying to work out the deal with eBay. And honestly, as much as I would like to toot my own horn to say, yes, we can compete with eBay, we really can't. So we're nowhere near that size. So I guess if I was Lolly, eBay, or random guy Nev, I'd go with eBay any day. Sorry, but that's maybe how it all happened. So anyways, it is an interesting piece and an interesting story. All right, y'all. Let's get in to geeking out. So let's geek out and let's pay attention to what's going on. So this one is actually what we're looking at. This is the YFI. And as you can see, we're seeing a bit of an interesting thing developing. When I actually, I don't know that I can zoom in or zoom out because I'm on a 15-minute. See? Oh my goodness. Someday I'm going to learn how to actually use TradingView and the quarter of the screen. But today is not the day. Today is not the day. So here we go, y'all. This is what happened. So in early November, we actually hit, after having the shoulder head shoulder pattern, reversal pattern that basically sent the YFI from the high of like 40 some $1,000 down to about $7,000. I think the low was like 7,200, something like that. Well, since that, this puppy pumped all the way to about $29,000, right? So that's what we kind of found ourselves. What was that? I don't know, November 19th. So now I'm going to actually switch to the 15-minute chart because I just, it might be easier to see some stuff. Okay. So November 20th, we went in, we hit the 29,000, 800 some dollars, right? Like, let's say 29.9, right? It didn't, like, it came back down. We tried it again, and we hit again pretty much the same number. That's double top in a short period of time, which always, okay, I can't say always, but more often than not signals that, hey, nobody's buying. This puppy is riding on down. So it starts riding down. As it starts riding down, if the traders actually have their positions and put in their stop losses, they actually get stop lossed out. They get sold out, basically. The exchange does it automatically for them. As that happens, more sales happen, the price continues tumbling, and then it has to come up with some sort of footing. That's basically what has been happening, and that's kind of how we found ourselves going from 29,000 to approximately 21,000. Now, if we take a look over here, that was, roughly speaking, a loss of what? A loss of 27% plus minus. So that's why I keep saying it's about 30% loss that we've experienced. Now, since that, it actually has climbed up a little bit, has come back down, and this is the pattern that I was explaining right over here on the channel that we were looking at, that I was like, oh yes, I hope it does this. It was the creating a beautiful triangle pattern right over here. Okay, it broke out a little bit, came back in it. It was starting to coil in. It started to trade. This is the part where we were right in. It started to trade right at the bottom of it. What I had hoped is that it would come back up and break on the upside, but it hadn't. What had happened was, doesn't every story, a really good story, when you can't explain yourself, start with, what had happened was, I know it does in my personal life, so I don't know, you let me know where you stand. But what had happened was, it came back down, broke the support level, and I mean, this puppy came all the way down into, where was it at? I mean, hitting the bottom of like 18,000. So it lost like almost, $11,000? 11 grand in a few short days. So we basically were, again, you can see the triangle pattern now, but it's, it's the hindsight is 2020, as they say. Which, by the way, I do think it's funny that it's 2020 and now we're in 2020, making us rethink everything in life, right? When we thought that the price should go up, it went down. When the price should dump, it went up. When we thought that, you know, we could actually go outside, they told us, nope, you're going to get arrested. I mean, crazy stuff has happened in 2020. So I do find it a bit ironic. So, all right, y'all, in 5 days, we have lost 40% in YFI. 40% loss in 5 days. Now, since then, we have actually come back on up. And as you can see, there's a brand new triangle pattern that is starting to form. And this was a really beautiful triangle pattern that is forming right here, that is actually kind of, going up, going kind of sideways, and it's going, and again, in the triangle pattern. We'll see how it's going to break. We'll see how it's going to break, because I really got nothing. It should come down to about 23,300. It should hopefully come back down to 23,600. And, if it breaks over 23,500, 500 plus minus, and if it breaks above it, we should see a very nice move on upwards. If it does come back over here, my sincere apologies, but I think is going to go back down again. Again, it's these are triangle patterns are incredibly powerful. And if you spot them, do pay attention to what's going on. And the longer the triangle is, the more days it has, the more explosive it is on the up or the downside of the things. This is a 15-minute chart, so this is not going to be a huge explosion. I don't expect it to go from $23,000 to like $50,000, but anything is possible. Crazier things have happened. But I just don't expect it. I don't expect it, because if I zoom out, and you will see that right here is November 10th. So we're talking like 2 weeks right here. Not much, not much is big happening over there. So that's kind of what's happening with the YFI. Now, if we switch over to Ethereum, again, I don't know why these things happen. Ethereum also did a bit of a dumping ground on the whole thing, and it went up and sideways for a while. And if you've been following the channel at all, you know that I like sideways moves way better. And if you're not following the channel, do me a huge favor, smash the subscribe button. Right now might be a good shot, right? And do me a favor, if there's a like button, help me out. Having the like does actually create the algorithm to actually do stuff. I'm really trying hard over here to build audience, failing miserably. So if I suck, will you let me know, so that at least I don't waste my time? Just go in a comment and be like, you suck, dude. I can take it. It's the silence that kills me. And maybe, just maybe, you like to torture that way. All right, just being silly over here. So as you can see, Ethereum actually, if we take a look at the moving average, the red one, the thick red one, is going to be the 50-day. The blue one is going to be a 200-day. I know that a lot of folks in the crypto community like to use like a 20-day moving average. My trading on some of this stuff comes from traditional markets, so I still like the 50, because my horizon tends to be on the longer end of things as well. But you are welcome to play around with whatever you want. So it went up, and then, we've climbed. And we've made a really nice, beautiful bounce from about here to here, which is a gain of what? 8-day gain, 40%, right? That was a beautiful gain. Now, from there, we also had a beautiful dump that we went in, and in what? 2 days, we went down 22%. So now it's starting to go sideways, which is a really good thing. However, we are looking at the 1 hour candlestick chart, and right now we are seeing a bearish territory enter right over here on 27th of November. at about what, 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, Eastern time. So depending on where you are, depends on kind of what you're going to see. But when you see the 200 moving average go above the 50, right? That's the part where you can potentially expect that we're entering a bit of the bearish side of things, and this could potentially hold. It could actually go down. I don't know what is going to happen clearly. The nice part over here that I'm seeing, and let me see if I can share it with you right now, is this right over here. We're seeing a bit of double bottom, but what I don't like about it is that, if my drawing is correct, sorry, I had to make this like super tiny small so that it shows well on the screen, but it's kind of hard to see it on this screen. Maybe I should have it on that. Anyways, sorry about that. So as you can see that, it is slightly sloping downwards, which I don't like, but we do have a new low right over here, right over here is where we have a new low, which is higher than the previous one. So that gives me a bit of hope. And then again, we also see a very clear resistance right here at this level up here, right? You can see that there is a resistance happening right around this level. Now if we take a look at just these two over here, oh, go away, you will notice that it actually has a slightly downward slope. This is starting to turn into slightly upward slope right over here. And so potentially we could be forming a triangle that, if the pattern continues to play out, could then give us a bit more information whether this is going to go on up or down. So that's something that you might want to play around with if you're thinking about trading. Again, not a financial advice. I personally don't really trade. I get into trades, but I'm not like a trader. I don't sit there and watch this stuff and get in and out of the markets. I typically just look for a nice sort of entry point in it if I can get it. I tend to be a long-term investor just because that just fits me and my strategy much better, and it's stuff that I actually enjoy doing much more. Now, with that being said, I do actually want to go into Bitcoin chart. And so we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin chart, and I want to share with you something very exciting. This is the reason why I was late, right? So I feel like we're on a date right now, and we've been dating for a little while, and it's getting serious, and now I have to explain myself. So that's kind of, when you start with what had happened was, and this is the reason I was late, you're wrong. You're wrong. So anyways, this is the reason why I was late. It's circled right over here, and the reason I circled is because I want to make sure that we see it as we zoom out of it. Now, we've gone back into the history, and I noticed something very, very peculiar here. What I did is I took a look at this particular chart. I'm sure you've seen it way too many times from many different sources and websites that you've been following, with people where they're getting very excited about what's going on with Bitcoin. This is that logarithmic, beautiful chart of what's happening with Bitcoin. And I saw something very interesting. Let me see if my handy dandy pen is going to play along, y'all. Here and here. I saw something very interesting. If you kind of look at it, there's some similarities within it, right? It's not exactly the same, but there's this beautiful peak. Then it kind of has this weird kind of downfall side thing. And so I said, there may be something in here. So let me take a quicker look. So I decided to go back in time and take a look at this beautiful triangle pattern that was forming in. This is Bitcoin back in December of 2013 as we were entering into January 2014. So, it's about, it's about quite a few years ago, right? But it's 7 years ago, plus minus. So, and if we know that we have every 4 years, that means that we have this beautiful cyclical, like every 4 year, beautiful large cycles that kind of develop. So that's kind of something to think about. Now, I know that many individuals that are in Bitcoin, that are in crypto, that are talking and comparing 2020 to like 2016, and yeah, 21 is going to be the 2017, 2018. But, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. And I will share with you the reason as to why in a few moments. We're going to go back to that big logarithmic chart where I'm going to show you some of the stuff and some of my thinking. I could be grossly wrong. You let me know how you feel about it, but I'm just going to give you sort of my thoughts, views, and opinions about the whole thing. So, you have over here, this beautiful thing. It has a double top. I promise it's going to make a sense in a few moments. You have this beautiful double top. It went back down. It kind of came back up. It started to form this triangle pattern, right? You can see it right over here. There's a clear support. It was starting to form it. But what happened is it broke on the downside of the whole thing. And this support right over here turned into resistance, which we do see happen quite a bit. Now, right around that time, we were extremely bullish, right? And at that point, it turned very, very bearish. It started to kind of go back down, slightly up, back down, and it started to go mostly sideways with the downward trend, right? So this is what happened. And it went downwards and sideways, and it was super boring. And then it kind of like had this little blimp on up, right? And then it had another blimp on up, right? And then it started to have this blimps up, and then there was a wall of things that was coming in. And the reason I'm not zooming out is because I want you to see this wall, this tsunami wave, as I call it, because when you zoom out, you don't really see it. But when you have to start climbing this puppy, and climbing this puppy, and climbing this puppy, and as you can see, I am still climbing this puppy, you get incredibly exhausted to go, holy mackerel, is there like an end to this tower? And yes, it is. And it's right over here. Now, I want to actually zoom out, and I want to show you the tower that we climbed and where we were as we were climbing that tower. And we were, hold on, you can't, it's so small. It's so small you can't even see it, y'all. Where did it go? Where did you go? Where did it go, George? Where did it go? I thought I drew the circle so I can find it. We were practicing for this moment in time. And now, even though I have practiced for this moment in time, what year are we in? Where are we? October 2016. Oh, well, that's where the problem is, Neb. You're in the wrong decade, man. There it is. There it is. All right, we're going to keep an eye on that guy. We're going to keep an eye on that guy. See, like I said, I was practicing for this moment in time. But what had happened was I failed miserably. And why is this thing doing this? Why are you doing this? Here it is. This is where it actually all happened. So this right over here is where the little plus sign is, or the hand, or whatever. That's the part where we looked at it, where it kind of went very similar to what we're seeing right now. Now, this is December 2013. Right now is November into December of 2020. So, I know it's not the same. But, you saw what kind of happened. Now, I do want to zoom in right now over here to what happened here into the 2020. And for that, I need to switch into 1 hour chart. Ooh, goodness gracious. See, this is what happens. I wish that the chart could just read my mind of what I wanted. Or maybe I can just like pull up different charts, and then I would just click on the tabs to show you, as opposed to doing this crazy stuff. And I didn't think of that all morning long until you showed up. So thank you for that. All right, so semi-joking aside, because by the way, this thing does look like an animal. Can we just say that? Look at these eyes. It tells you. So we had a double top on the 24th of November. We kind of hit the high of about, 19,400 something. Then we went down, came back to this support level over here that I drew a little, a moment ago. to about what is that, 18,000, 600 something, came back up, hit exactly 19,500, and then I mean, when I say exactly, not even a penny more, not a penny less, like it was 19,500.00, and if dollars had 18 zeros, it probably would be 18 zeros right there in a row. But the dollars don't. They only have two. Big failure on dollars part. Okay? But anyways, so interesting piece is that it hit it at right around the same time. The exchange, I believe, the OKX, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. My apologies if I'm wrong. But they also, they had lost an owner of the keys somehow, whether he was arrested or disappeared or got kidnapped or ran away or whatever happened. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but they lost the guy, right? And the guy has all the keys to everything, trading and stuff. So they stopped everything. Nobody could touch anything. People had a ton of money that they couldn't touch. Thankfully, it was a bull market. So while people are unhappy, what are you going to do anyways, right? But also it's a bull market, so they're like, well, at least I'm making money, Unless they were shorting it, at which point they're like, oh, I hope that my stop loss was actually executing properly and that I'm out of that trade, not losing money. So what happened? Well, I don't know if they found the guy. I don't know if they found the key. I don't know what they found, but they found something without any explanation. There was an announcement saying, hey, congratulations, you can go in and trade. So things are colliding. You have 19,500 hitting in, and that's pretty close to the darn top. So vast majority of people, I'm going to say like 99.999999. Is that 18 zeros? Probably not. But anyways, was in profit, which means a lot of people were going to take a profit. Anyways, beautiful round number. Crowd loves round numbers when it comes to buying and selling stuff, especially. And now you have a sea of people that kind of came in. And when you combine one thing next to another, kaboom! We had a beautiful downward cake. And that's what actually happened here, a downward cake. Now we did have this over here, and this green line that you're looking at, this is from our previous conversations on the channel, and this is actually coming in that it was a good support piece right over here. Well, this support is now turning into a very clear resistance, as you can see, but now we're forming a beautiful triangle pattern again. There you go. Triangle patterns are very, very powerful. They are very prevalent inside any of the trading. This goes for stocks. This goes for crypto. I guess ETFs, ETNs, anything that has a chart that is tradable, I guess it has a pattern. And a lot of these patterns are going to be very, very interesting ones. So this is a beautiful, a triangle that it does have a strong potential for a move on up. Is it going to happen? Who the hey knows? We are in a bear territory right over here based off of this analysis here, right? And but we will see. We are on the RSI currently sitting at 46. So we're not as underpriced as we were right over here before we went bearish, but we are showing right now bearish pattern, although we'll see. So right now it's one of those things that if you are like me, I believe that Bitcoin is, and crypto in general, is incredibly amazing place to be and to trade and to make incredibly great wealth long term. Again, not a financial advice whatsoever, not a legal advice, not a life advice, none of that stuff. It's just my personal beliefs based off of my understanding on money and finances and how it all works. And I do believe that this puppy could easily go to multi-million-dollar per Bitcoin. Is it going to happen in 2020? Definitely not. 2021? Definitely not. I mean, anything is possible, but chances are like slim to none. In 2030, yeah, could I wait 10 years to turn something like, I don't know, $5,000 into 5 or 15 million? Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm a patient man. I'm a patient man. I believe that sometimes patience is how you build things, and that's just kind of how you do stuff, right? So you can't expect everything to be overnight. I know in today's economy, in today's environment, with everything is like a click a button and you just kaboom. All of a sudden you were like, I attended a seminar that was 3 hours. Now I'm an expert in XYZ. Like, it doesn't work that way, y'all. It doesn't work that way, y'all. So this is not going to happen with Bitcoin either. So if you are a long-term believer that is going to go up to the moon like me, then it doesn't matter. You just keep on accumulating. But this, if you're a trader, well, then you definitely want to consider looking at the 15-minute chart and which way is going. Where are we? I mean, you can see right now we're hitting the 50-day moving average. Is it going to be a resistance? Is it going to move? This is a 15-minute candle. So you want to take a look into that stuff, right? So you want to be smart about what you're doing. The biggest thing is you want to learn. You want to learn, right? And so, channels like this, there's plenty of other channels, go out there and learn about stuff. Okay, now I wanted to share with you here, I promised that we're going to come back to this one. So, this is the part that I was looking at. Now, I know that everybody, or just about everybody, is talking about, again, that we are in the 2016 when it comes to the price, that we are, excuse me, going to go to the moon in in 2021 in January and stuff. And I think it's possible, but I think that the waves right now, one of the things that this particular chart right over here highlights is a few different components that kind of make it very interesting for me to play around. So let's take a look. Let's see if my trusty pen will work with me. So you will see that this right over here, the way I see it is that sort of like one big wave. The wave is fairly steep, fairly short, and it hits the new all-time high. Then we have the second wave from about this high over here to this high over here. Sorry, my drawing is not all that beautiful. And you will notice that the wave is much longer, and while we do go up, it's not as steep. By the way, keep in mind that we are on a logarithmic chart, meaning that we go from 1 till to 10, 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000, like are all like kind of like same distance. So it kind of smooths things out a little bit, right? It makes it easier for us not to get carried away on the price movement, but we look more into the movement of what is it doing. Okay, so I look at this stuff. And I'm saying, well, I'm noticing an interesting trend. And an interesting trend, perhaps, maybe, is that this is getting longer, is lengthening. And I'm not the first person to call this out. There are quite a few other very well-respected traders, not just within crypto space, but outside of the crypto, that basically say the same thing, right? We're seeing the lengthening of the cycles, and we're seeing that the explosion is not as high. So now, it takes a bit longer time. It gets stretched out like a dough, right? And it still goes up, and it still does perform really, 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 really well. However, it doesn't do these like, it's still possible, and we'll still hit it, and we'll still get there when we get there. Today's not it, right? Today is not it. And so I look at this stuff, and I look at kind of where the years are, and I say, well, this is approximately, 4 years, right? 4-year cycles. That's kind of what we're seeing happen because of the halving or halvening or however you want to call it, right? Oh, hold on. I should probably delete this stuff. So you will see I have all of the, let's get rid of some of these things. Can I get rid of this stuff? Can I get rid of this stuff, please? It's crazy. I even have to ask a computer to be nice to me. Like, who does that? Who does that? Okay, let me remove all of the stuff, even MACD. And the reason for that is I want to see years much easier. All right, let's play around again. So now we see years, right? Now we see years right over here. So you will notice that this over here is 2014. This over here is 2018, if my little trusty pen will work, right? This over here, is getting into 2011, and this is coming from Bitstamp, so they don't have the data from it. But we do know that halvenings happen every 4 years, so it would almost make sense that you would have the tops in the market every 4 years. Okay? So if that is the case, right, we are right now in 2020, right, about to end it. Well, 2020 is only 2 years, right? 2 year. This is a 4 year cycle. We're only 2 year away from it. Well, if we were to look at the 4 year component right over here, that would make us in 2016, right over here. My drawing is horrendous, right? Right over here, right? So this part that you're seeing should be equal to this part that you're seeing. Okay? That means that the best is yet to come, right? The best is yet to come. We are, when we were looking at that blimp thing that I circled in yellow on TradingView, we were in December of 2013, which means we were looking at right over here this blimp as we started going down. Now, it's not exactly the same thing, right? But you saw what happened with the ginormous, when you saw that wave, that's kind of where it started happening right around here. So when you saw that like wall that I kept scrolling up and up and up and up, that's what this was. And we are not here yet. We are somewhere around here. Oh no, my little trusty pen didn't work. We're around here. So that's kind of where we are right now, cycle-ish. That's kind of where I am thinking of what's going on. So, that means, and if you look at it over here, one of the other pieces that I also want to point out, this was $1,000 and it went to 20,000, right? So it went 20x. Is it possible that we're going to go from 20k 20x? Yeah, it is possible. They are getting not as violent, so maybe you don't get 20x in this particular cycle. Maybe instead of 20x, we only get 16x. Maybe we only get 12x. I don't know. I honestly don't know how it's going to be. Nobody knows exactly how it's going to be. But the fact that we're talking not percentage points but x's still, that is crazy. That is a crazy return nonetheless, in my humble opinion. All right. Now, one of the things that I did share with you is that today we're going to end the show with a bit of funny that some of you might find inappropriate. And so here it is. This is your warning. If you're easily offended, it's some of the innuendos get you all kinds of feeling weird or creepy or maybe slightly dirty and you need to shower, may I suggest jumping in a shower right about now, because in 2, 1, here we go, y'all. And this is coming a little bit of sexual innuendo jokes. And I promise I am not that gifted. I am not that talented. This is not coming from me. This is coming from your health department and your government. That's right. Hey, happy Thanksgiving from the government. They want you to be safe with sex in the time of COVID. So I am not going to read what it says on the screen, but I hope you can enjoy seeing it. And because we do have some listeners and not watchers, I will explain to you. Oregon Health Department has the sex in the time of COVID-19. Practice these tips for sexual health to keep you safe during COVID-19. And it has press pause. It talks about rimming and explains what it is. It has a giant peach that looks quite lovely, I am sure, to many individuals. Now, of course, the Vermont Department of Health also said, hey, decisions about sex and sexuality needs to be balanced with your personal and public health. But they're not the only ones. New York. I gotta love New York. Now, New York is shutting down the churches, going over to the Supreme Court, arguing the point of why religion should be canceled this year. Hey, they've canceled everything else. Why not religion? Why not religion? But one thing they're not canceling are the dirty peep shows. That's right. They are saying, hey, be creative with it. create some physical barriers like walls. Yeah, and then maybe drill a hole right through it. Yep, yep, that's right. If you can prevent close face to face contact, this is the best way to enjoy yourself. San Francisco gets even better. So San Francisco actually turns in that is saying quicker the better. And yeah, I think some men would absolutely agree. Maybe some ladies too. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about it. And on top of that, oh, no pun intended. Maybe pun was intended. They're also saying outdoors is better than indoors. Now, I can't make this up. I told you, folks, I am not that funny, but this is absolutely amazing. Now, Bostonians, here's what's happening on the eastern seaboard where the Tea Party was big. Using social distancing, recommendation of 6 feet, oral sex may still put you at risk of COVID. So, during your hookups, make sure you leave the protective gear to the medical professionals only. Did they really say that out loud? Yes, they did. And then in Austin, Texas, they did say, hey, COVID-19 had been found in fecal matter. Avoid activity that could allow virus to enter your mouth. So, as they had said, well, I guess eat shit and die is now a true statement in a state of Texas. The city of Milwaukee, masturbation will not spread COVID-19, especially if you wash your hands and do it by yourself. So, interestingly enough, now I do want to point out, if you have to tell somebody who just pleasured themselves that they need to clean up and wash their hands before they go out and interact with the public, we have another problem coming our way. So there you go, folks. This is the news coming from our government. They do want you to be safe in a time of COVID and practice safe sex. Outdoors, indoors, walls or without walls. Protection or no protection. It only depends what city you decide to do it in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Super appreciate you. Do sign up. Do hit the like. If nothing else, I think the jokes deserved it. And I will see you tomorrow, but only if you sign up. Until next time, stay forever money blessed. And do remember, you are only one